Hello and good morning, people. Yes, how are you doing? I've got a thing here called neurobehavioral and psychosocial issues in Klinefelter syndrome. And it was published on the 30th of June 2004. It says Klinefelter syndrome KS is a relatively common 1 in 500 to 1 in 1,000 genetic syndrome caused by an extra X chromosome in males, leading to an XXY karyotype. In most cases, the physical and neurobehavioral characteristics of KS are relatively mild, and KS is not usually associated with moderate or severe mental retardation. However, KS is often associated with significant language-based learning disabilities and executive dysfunction, making it a plausible genetic model for understanding the neurobiology of these areas of cognition that are so fundamental to learning in a classroom. Additionally, the psychosocial aspects of KS, which can have a significant impact on school performance and learning, have been explored only on an anecdotal level. We have conducted pilot studies in a small group of KS adolescents and adults to begin to identify the social, emotional, and adaptive behavior issues facing KS subjects, and have identified several areas for further research. This includes characterization of mild maladaptive behaviors, as well as significant strengths in other areas. Further work is needed to determine how the social, emotional, and cognitive features of the disorder interact or change over the lifetime of subjects, and how the learning disabilities respond to hormonal or cognitive-based therapy. Now, that's a fairly well-written paragraph there. There is a PDF that you can buy online here to read the whole article. But my biggest issue with that is calling Klinefelter syndrome a disorder. I mean, it's hardly a disorder. Not everybody who's infertile, it should be considered to having a disorder. Maybe a malfunction. You could say there's a malfunction in the body, but saying somebody has a disorder is plain wrong, and the medical establishment continue to do it. So it's really a fight of an individual against a medical establishment, which won't end in happy days, because it'll be a war, which it is a war at the moment. Doctors absolutely making people feel in general that they are diseased, disordered, instead of actually dealing with what people can do with themselves through life, getting themselves better and concentrating on the positive things we can do for each person's body and mind, So disorder, I have a real problem with that word disorder, my God. Anyway, yes, it's right, 1 in 500 to 1 in 1,000 live male births are generally XXYs, or people who've got Klinefelter syndrome, technically. I find it great that they are saying in this paragraph, further work is needed to determine how the social, emotional, and cognitive features of the disorder interact or change over the lifetime. That's good. I mean, thank you for saying further work is needed. That's what I'm saying. And let's see now. Yeah, KS is often associated with significant language-based learning disabilities, but the reality is there's so many XXYs that are online now who are basically telling all the other XXYs that they're not so stupid as we were told in the books we were, or that we don't have those many difficulties learning, learning certain things, but every human being is like that. I'm kind of getting sick. I've been sick of it for a while, all my life probably, of biology and scientists coming along and trying to box people into something and keeping them there. We are nature. We're part of nature. We evolve. We change over time. And doing studies on certain people is great to get a general vibe, but not to blanket statement then every XXY as being exactly the same as the people that they're basically researching. And that's a big problem with statistics. So even the 1 in 500 to 1 in 1,000 live male births, that's only an estimation. The statistics aren't available because they can't even be done, because not every baby is screened at birth. We've got to really look at these things straight on. And there is a lot of situation with the neurobehavioral ness of every human being. You know, um, I believe that gender being bullshit that it is, but hasn't been proven yet, it restricts people in being themselves, their true selves. And with more and more research and studies done with the idea that this is normal and anything that sways to the left or the right of that has to be fixed is so wrong, you know, so wrong. I believe that we're all here for a good reason, you know, and we're all here as human beings, the ones that are speaking on the internet anyway, and you know we've all got our own talents and what have you, and we also as human beings evolved from monkeys. Yes, Christian, sorry about that. um, we we have really got to battle ourselves because we can be negative, we can be violent, we can be territorial, all that sort of stuff, you know. And I like the system of society where it's a bit controlled so that people can't do absolutely everything they can. The only problem with that statement there actually is that in this world, a lot of people who are, you know, really bad for society are getting away with all the stuff that they do in society because our laws are so outdated, and so it's nearly better to be, you know, on the wrong side of the law, really, on so many levels. But you know, we really need to sort out the brain of the human being, and that is to understand the brain, not to go and research it and finding statistics and then saying, yeah, look, we've proven it with the statistics, you know. Um, I think a lot of ways in which scientists come to their conclusions and then write it in fact and stone for years and centuries is terrible. It's terrible methods of coming to a conclusion. And I think more and more scientists and doctors and that have to really listen to the people who've got the conditions, not the disorders, the conditions that they have, their condition of life, their condition in life, whatever way you want to put it. That sounds much better, much more healthy for the brain, right? Neurobehavioral, you know, you need good words for your brain. You need to feed your brain with good words, positivity. When the negative comes in, substitute it with the positive. Those sorts of methods. I mean, now this is a waffle, isn't it? Starting off with neurobehavioral and psychosocial issues and Klinefelter syndrome. I think Klinefelter syndrome people are not still understood, and there's this always they say males, and the reality is that science started off with thinking that XY meant you're male and XX is female, and the reality is that's not true. So XXY, just based on the previous knowledge that the scientists had, XXY would automatically mean that we're not XX and we're not XY or XXY, so we're different on a level anyway, and maybe we're in the middle of the two sexes. But now we know that there's so many more sexes, and there's so many different types of humans, you know. Shame that man is inhuman there in the word, but there you go. Look, I'll leave it at that because I could waffle on forever. It's morning time, and I had to say that because it's so important that we discuss how we are treated in the medical world, and what words they use on us, and how significant certain words can be on the brain and getting people to think the way they do. And that's again back to the gender point of the restrictions, because so many people think that a certain behavior is feminine or masculine, and if they have a penis and they've got feminine things going on, then they're confused, and the doctors will say that's gender dysphoria, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Gender identity disorder. Wow. I mean, the disorder of gender is the fact that there isn't enough of a spectrum of choice in gender. It seems to be just two categories, male or female, when in reality, that's not the situation at all, you know. And I thank the new generations coming in who are actually very in tune with how bodies and minds interact with each other and don't need to act, you know. They just need to behave normally. Ciao.